Hey, fourth graders. So one of the advantages of being a remote teacher is that I can do read aloud from outside by my pool. So I am sitting out here by the pool and it's Sunday afternoon and it's beautiful outside, and I hope you got outside and went for a walk or went for a bike ride or just spent some time outside. Mr. Jackman and Mrs. Jackman and the dog went for a huge hike today, so we hiked for a couple miles and went around the lake a couple times. So I am reading Mystery on Mackinac Island, and it is time for us to read chapter 4. It is called A Suspect and a Shock. What will be shocking? Dun, dun, dun. As the boys cycled along the narrow woods road where the trees almost met overhead, Rusty asked Hunter what it was like to live on an island and asked about his family. At first, Hunter only answered with a word or two. Then he felt like the mainland boy was not just curious, but actually envious, so he started to talk more freely. When he had asked Rusty about his family, the redhead said, "Nothing unusual or exciting about us. We're just an ordinary family from an ordinary city. But Hunter, you're a Native American. How come you don't have a cool name like Tall Feather or Sitting Bull? Martineau does not sound Indian." Hunter answered, "One of my long-ago grandfathers came from France. He was a fur trader, and his name was Jacques Martineau. He married a woman in the Ottawa tribe, and the rest of my family were Ottawas. My grandfather that I lived with was a chief." Rusty's eyes got wide. He would have asked more, but at that point they came to Stone Cliff entrance, marked by wrought iron gates that blocked the road. They weren't locked, but they had a big printed notice: "Private property, keep out. Trespassers will be prosecuted." "Uh-oh," Rusty said. "That looks bad." "Forget it," Hunter answered. "I go through these woods anytime I want." When they had put their bikes out of sight, Hunter glanced at his fellow detective and frowned. "That yellow t-shirt of yours, it's like a flag to call people's attention." Without hesitating, Rusty peeled off his shirt and flung it toward his bike. "How's this?" he asked. Hunter laughed. He couldn't help it. "Not much better. I have never seen such snow-white skin." "Well, I can't take that off," Rusty growled. "Try this," Hunter suggested, taking off his own dull green shirt and handing it to the red-headed boy. Rusty slipped it on and then stared with envy at Hunter's red-brown body. "Gee," he said, "you're lucky. It's like you've got natural camouflage." Next, Hunter gave the other boy some tips on moving silently and invisibly through the trees. Rusty listened carefully as they moved off. He tried to copy every move made by the guide. They circled the mansion at a distance and saw no sign of the caretaker or his dog. Slipping from cover to cover, they inspected the lodge and other buildings. After 2 hours, they returned to the gates. "Well," said Rusty as they got their bikes and put on a new shirt, "we drew a blank, but it was neat learning those new stalking tricks." They were scarcely on their way when they heard the sound of horses' hooves and the squeak of an ungreased axle. Around the next curve, the road was blocked by Kirby's team of horses and the big trash wagon. The boys moved to one side, but Kirby halted the horses. "Hey, Hunter," he called out. "Who's your friend?" "This is Rusty," Hunter answered. I'm showing him around here." "Hey there, Rusty," Kirby greeted him. "How do you like Mackinac?" "It's cool," Rusty answered, and full of enthusiasm. "We're looking for stolen bikes." "Well," Kirby exclaimed, "that's funny, because so am I." "You are?" Rusty was taken by surprise. "Right, and I have the best chance of all of finding them," he boasted. "But you guys have fun. So long." He clucked to his horses and moved on toward Stonecliff. Rusty, his face red, turned to the older boy. "Is that true?" he demanded. Hunter nodded grimly. "I guess so. He drives around every day to all the tourist spots to empty the trash cans. Sooner or later, he may pick up a clue or see the thief taking a bike. Then all that money will go to his pocket, not mine." "Gee," said Rusty, "that's rotten luck." Hunter went on. "I'm sorry you told him about us, because now he's going to try even harder. Let's not tell anyone else." "Not even my dad?" Rusty asked. "Oh, yeah, but no one else, okay?" As they rode on in silence, Rusty looked gloom. To make him think of something else, Hunter told him about meeting Jancy and her aunt that morning and taking them to Craigmore House. It was close to supper time when Hunter and Rusty coasted downhill past the gleaming Grand Hotel, with its famous longest porch in the world, and rode to Lakeshore Boulevard. Hunter explained that this paved road circled the island at water level. They stopped so Rusty could see a wide, pebbly area known as the Grand Hotel Beach. Dozens of people were in the sun and splashing there. Can we swim here? Rusty asked eagerly. Hunter shrugged. The water's shallow. The best place to swim is at the north end of the island, by British Landing. There's a dock there in deep water. Say, tomorrow let's bring our swimsuits. All right, Rusty answered. We better bring sandwiches and pop, too, Hunter added. I'll guess someone at the beacon light can fix that for you. As they were talking, a man on a rental bike passed them. Hunter hardly noticed him at first, and then something made him take a second look. Say, Rusty, he said excitedly, do you see anything funny about that guy? Yeah, came the answer. He's got a built-up shoe, like a clubfoot, I guess. Maybe he had polio. I didn't mean that, Hunter said. That guy is riding a girl's bike. So what, said Rusty. Maybe it's easier for a guy with a bad foot. Yeah, you could be right, Hunter answered. They remounted and rode up Market Street. Just as they were passing Emmett's shop, they saw a girl coming toward them on foot. She looked hot and out of breath. It was Jancy. They stopped. When Jancy reached them, she cried, Hunter, Hunter, I'm so glad to see you. The most awful thing happened. What do you mean? The girl answered, my bike, it was stolen. Will you go with me when I go to tell the man at the shop? Sure, Hunter said, and then said to Rusty, this is Jancy, the girl I told you about. Hi, he said, I'm Rusty. Locking their bikes, they went in and gave Emmett the news. He was mad and angry. How did this happen? He answered. Holding back tears, Jancy said, I was sketching Arch Rock down by the shore. I turned around and my bike was gone. I told you to be careful, Emmett scolded her. Rusty demanded, why didn't you give her a lock like you gave me? Scowling, Emmett told him he only had a few and there were no more to be bought on the island. To Jancy, he said, I'm sorry, young lady, but I'm going to have to keep your deposit money. But that won't let me buy a new bike or make up for lost customers. I know, said Jancy in a small voice, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for me, too. All my spending money is gone. An idea had been pricking at the back of Hunter's mind. Jancy, what color was your bike? Black, she answered. Hunter turned to the man. Emmett, did you rent a girl's bike today? To a guy? Puzzled, the shopkeeper said, no, I didn't. Why? Hunter asked another question. What was Jancy's ID number? Emmett opened his book and said 403. Why? Well, Hunter answered, just a few minutes ago, Rusty and I saw a man with a built-up shoe riding a girl's black bike. I know the ID had a 4 in it. Could that be Jancy's bike? Yikes, Rusty yelped. That has to be it. Come on, Hunter said. Let's go after him. Rusty glanced at his watch and his face clouded. Oh, I can't, he groaned. I have to meet my dad in a few minutes, and he is a nut about being on time. Then I'll go alone, Hunter said, starting for the door. I can't waste any more time. When will I see you? Rusty wailed. Tomorrow at 9 at the beacon light, and remember, get sandwiches. Gee, the redhead said, gazing after Hunter. I sure hope he gets them, but I wanted to be in on it. I'm going to read the rest in part 2.